there, and welcome. Let's dive into something really interesting today. We're going to talk about that feeling of being constantly on alert. And what if I told you it's not a flaw? What if it's actually a super sophisticated defense system? I mean, have you ever walked into a room and your first instinct is to find all the exits? Or maybe you're about to go into a meeting and you've already played out every single way it could go wrong? Yeah, if that rings a bell, then you're definitely in the right place. See, that's not just, random worry. It's something much, much more specific going on in your brain. And today, we're going to decode it together. All right, first up, the overly observant brain. Let's talk about the labels, right? The words that other people, and hey, maybe even that little voice inside our own heads, tend to use to describe this whole experience. You've probably heard it a million times. Oh, you're just being anxious, or you're too sensitive, or you're just overly observant. These words get thrown around so easily, don't they? They're simple labels, but honestly, they completely miss what's really going on. So what if we flipped that? What if this isn't some kind of disorder, but actually a highly evolved design, a program running in the background? And that's what brings us to the main event here. Let's talk about this as a high IQ defense system. We're going to stop looking at this trait as a weakness and start seeing it for what it truly is, a strength. Okay, so look at this. The contrast is just stark. On one side, you have those common kind of dismissive labels we just talked about, but on the other side, we're looking at it through a totally new lens. Anxious? No, that becomes a high IQ defense system. Too observant? Try elite survivalist. And this is so much more than just playing with words. It's about a fundamental shift in perspective, about how we see ourselves. And really, this quote just nails it. It's all about moving past that disorder label and finally seeing the elite survivalist inside. It's about realizing that these traits didn't just appear out of nowhere. They developed for a very, very good reason: survival. We're talking about an elite skill set, literally forged in the fire of experience. So the big question is, where does a system like this even come from? Well, the answer is deep in our own history, in our experiences, and how they literally shaped our brain's chemistry. A lot of the time, the root can be traced to something called complex PTSD, or C-PTSD. Now, this often comes from a long-term emotional neglect, and it's important to get this. We're not talking about one big single traumatic event. We're talking about a history that teaches the brain a really crucial and often painful lesson. So let's break down how this actually happens. It all starts with being in an environment where your emotional needs just aren't being met. And from that, your brain learns a really critical rule for survival. I cannot afford to miss a single thing. And I mean anything. All of a sudden, a tiny shift in someone's tone of voice or a subtle change in the vibe of a room, that's not just a minor detail anymore. It becomes critical, life or death data. You're the one who sees that tiny flicker of disappointment on your boss's face, and you just know the project is in trouble, way before anyone else has a clue. This next idea is such a powerful way to think about it. You've basically got a biological IMAX screen for reality. I mean, how good is that? It's not just that you're seeing things, you are seeing them in stunning, ultra-high definition. Every single detail is magnified, and for good reason. Because at some point, your survival, your safety, literally depended on you catching all those little things that everybody else was missing. You could even call it 8K sensory processing. It's like, while most people are walking around experiencing life in standard def, your brain is processing information at a resolution they can't even imagine. It's this incredibly powerful high-speed system that, it's just always on. Okay, so this intense mental processing, it doesn't just stay cooped up in your head, right? Nope. It shows up physically. Your whole body keeps score. So let me ask you this. Ever feel permanently tense? You know that feeling? Your shoulders are practically up by your ears, your jaw is clenched shut, you've got that tightness in your chest. It's that feeling of just never, ever being able to fully relax. Well, listen to this. That tension, it's not a bug, it's a feature. Your nervous system is acting like a guard, a sentry that is never off duty. It genuinely believes that by staying tense, it's protecting you from some kind of looming chaos. That tension is your physical shield. And what about that gut feeling, or a nervous stomach? We usually just write it off as, oh, that's just anxiety. But it's actually way more sophisticated than that. A better way to think of it is like a high-speed emotional temperature gauge. It's constantly taking a reading of the room, of the people, of the entire situation. And here's the really wild part. Your digestive system, your gut, is processing all this social data faster than your conscious brain can even begin to register it. It picks up on the vibe, the unspoken tension, all of it, long before you can consciously put it into words. It's a phenomenal early warning system, giving you a serious head start. All right, let's pull all these threads together. It's time to own this, to stop seeing these traits as some kind of heavy burden, and to start recognizing them for what they truly are, the tools of the elite survivalist within. Seriously, just let this one sink in for a minute. You aren't just observant. You have a high IQ defense system forged in the fire of your past experiences. You are not too much. You're not too sensitive. You are highly, highly adapted. You have a defense system that was literally custom-built and battle-tested for you. So when you look at it this way, what you've got isn't a list of problems or symptoms. It's a toolkit, an incredible one. You've got 8K sensory processing, a biological IMAX screen, a high-speed emotional gauge. This isn't a list of flaws. This is an elite survivalist's toolkit, perfectly designed for maximum awareness and protection. And that really brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. Now that you see it for what it is, its origins, its purpose, how are you going to view this incredible system you have? Is your 8K processing a burden you have to carry, or is it a secret tool, a superpower you can learn to use? Something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.